And hello guys, welcome back to another Oversalt tournament. This time it's gonna be from bronze to top 500 that these teams are gonna be stretching about. And right here in this match, we actually have two GMs teams facing off in the semifinal. So far, what do you think about these teams?
On the side of Rascals Purple, I did notice by having a gander at the profiles that they do have a player who pretty much one-tricks from main comp. I'm just wondering if he's going to be able to flex onto the positions they need in this map. It's a very highly dive meta map with all the high grounds. Will maybe be able to be played? I don't know. On the side of Dramatic Gaming, they have overall 7 months more experience than Rascals, which I feel like will be able to be shown during this map.
Yeah, I also definitely feel like the coordination between these teams is going to play a big factor on this dive-heavy map. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be running out with compositions like Widow Genji or Double Sniper, or something completely third-party, like, to see what they bring out.
Okay, so Rascals look like they're coming out with the Winston Diva, which is expected. The Ana Lucio, that's also expected. The Genji Soldier is interesting for me because you'd think that you'd want a Widowmaker on this map with such long sightlines. The pick potential is crazy with Widow.
Yeah, usually you never really see this combination of Soldier Genji. Because if anything, you go like Widow Genji
and you see he's playing
Widow
the back
Soldier.
side of the map as well. So I was thinking maybe he would hold blue and use the healing pack to sustain longer.
Yeah, I think. And we actually have the other team coming out with a standard kind of or not standard, but triple tank with.
Yeah, you can see the Hulk coming out looking for a cheeky hook as well with the Orisa or just missing Diva.
Yeah, so we're gonna be just seeing what the teams are gonna be playing here. So it actually seems like they're gonna be switching off float.
I think this is the right decision here with floats because the enemy team, they're playing the Genji Soldier. They're not going to be able to do much once the Winston gets into them.
Yeah, that's very true. So we're just gonna see him push the payload here for a bit and just wait until the Winston can contest blue box or the soldier. So right now we see them just spamming down from blue box. Winston jumps in onto the soldier. Soldier sprints away. The Diva also follows Winston, and now we just have a tank battle on the top right. Where the red Winston already goes down. It looks like this team is actually gonna be going in. Never mind, I was about to say that the fight was going in the favor of the blue team here, but red is making a comeback, just staying on the payload with that Brigitte sustain, but it looks like they're finally going to be falling here.
I can see that fight was all over the place. The visor comes out as well, trying to just complete the fight and win it. You really can't tell who's going to win this point.
Yeah,
the red team, they had the goats, so they were going to sustain a lot longer. Losing the monkey wasn't a problem at the start. But the blue team, with the quicker respawns, managed to come back there, hold the point, use the visor just to end it.
Yeah,
to hold.
I mean, also another reason to use that visor is because against this tank-heavy composition, he's going to be able to farm it so quick again. And they're actually going to switch up to a Junkrat here from Rascals on the defense.
It's probably because the Genji wasn't able to do much against floats.
Yeah, so we see Dramatic Gaming again here contesting the high ground. Beat coming out, but I think it was actually Bubble. The Diva Bomb comes in just to remake. He remakes on high ground. The fight is all over the place right now with people taking individual fights. The Nano Primal coming in from Rascals, getting grabbed though.
But there was no focus fire on the grab as well.
Yeah, so we see her just. We see Dramatic Gaming here cleaning up the payload with the floats composition. There's so much sustain in these fights.
See, with that fight as well, the floats composition managed to build their Zarya grab, which is a key component when trying to come out and win team fights. And you see on the side of the Rascals, they don't really have a sustained support apart from Lucio beat drop, which can be easily countered.
Yeah, and we actually see Ghost Star swapping off from the Junkrat and getting a pick onto Yibikai Yay. So this is probably gonna be a lot of space gained from Rascals from that one pick. However, it looks like it looks like Dramatic didn't want to give up the space and they actually got the pick on Ghost Dog. Ghost Dog didn't realize the Winston was still on the high ground. The Grabs comes in to solo grab the Ana and get another pick. It looks like that Dramatic Gaming is just gonna be rolling over this point with stackers.
I think you see that fight as well. The Hanzo played the ship against the Winston there, not really realizing he was right in front of his face. Got that initial pick on the fight. They managed to just take control of the payload, get their ultimates off, and just wipe again.
Yeah, so we see again here Dramatic Gaming coming in just for yet more stackers. Just they keep stackering our team here, which really allows them to
have
push forward.
decided to match them on the floats as well now, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Because Dramatic Gaming have been playing floats for so long, they've built up a large ult economy. So it'll be really hard for Rascals to even contest, even though they matched them.
Yeah, Dramatic Gaming just kind of defending, trying to peel for the Zenyatta, and the bomb comes in to remake. Both beats are used now. The primal from Rascals coming in again, but the grab from the side of
huge kills coming out from Dramatic Gaming, and that's what I was talking about with the Rascals switching so late. They didn't have proper defensive ultimates against the grab. Zarya is already at 100 energy, whereas Exion was struggling to build charge.
Yeah, and now we just see the Zenyatta and Zarya on the high ground from Dramatic Gaming, and the bomb comes in again. It actually gets blocked mostly from the self bubble, but the rest of the team seems to be getting cleaned up onto the side of like Dramatic Gaming. But they commit their trance here into the fight. It looks like, I think this is just gonna be another like staggered fight where Dramatic Gaming is just kind of wasting ults at this point. Rascals being able to defend here.
Team of Rascals switched over to the ball for the quicker contest, and because of the close respawns, they sustained a lot longer with the ball. The rally comes out to just help the ball sustain, and they slowly just come back out of spawn and get a larger number against Dramatic.
Yeah, and we see the cleanup here coming in from Rascals, just diving in with that hammer and landing an exceptional amount of damage from the Zarya, building up another grab.
So we have Dramatic actually switching over to the Rhine Goats. Interesting to see that Rascals is actually staying on the ball. I would assume he would have swapped.
Yeah, but they probably want to try and cut someone off with the mines here. The grab coming in from behind, the grab bomb coming out. Now let's see if they can prove to get the shield. However, it doesn't matter, it doesn't succeed, and now we just have a rally and a sound barrier up from Dramatic Gaming, trying to sustain from the damage from the Zarya on the high ground, pushing in slowly to payload here. They get a pick onto the Diva Meg and keep pushing in with the Transcendence here.
The Diva bomb comes out. Manages to survive. Oh, Zarya is gone. I was gonna say, if the Zarya managed to survive, they just used their Transcendence on the side of Dramatic. You can maybe get a grab off.
Yeah, no, the grab comes in from Dramatic Gaming, but it gets beat. And now we just see the charge coming in, and now we're gonna have Dramatic Gaming trying to clean up the rest of these stackers, but gets grabbed on payload. And if Rascals get a pick here, it's gonna be huge for the stalling, but it doesn't matter, and Diva gets demagged in the last second. They're probably gonna be able to push this on the last stretch of this point. They swap to Baptiste though to try and use that immortality field to contest the point a little longer. However, stackers are just coming in.
Loads and loads of different heroes that have the quick respawn time, the quick contest time, just to get on the cart, to be honest.
Yeah, Rascals didn't really have any hope left of winning that fight, and
they were
just
trying
went
to
for
prolong the timer there.
Yeah, they just wanted to tick down the timer so Dramatic Gaming wouldn't have as much time for the next round if they also managed to cap third.
Yeah, I think the reason that they lost that second phase so quickly as well, I would have probably thought the Rascals team should have switched to floats on the second point instead of the third point. Because they switched on the third point, they allowed Dramatic Gaming to just build up such a huge ult economy and just keep rolling each fight, building up that grab. Just using the grab against like only one Lucio beat, it wouldn't be enough sustain for the side of Rascals. And Dramatic just ends up killing them all.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be excited to see what Dramatic Gaming is going to pick on defense here, because we saw the floats coming up from last round. Do you think they're going to change it up for the defense?
I feel like I would see a Widowmaker on their side. No, looks like straight up floats again.
Looks like it's going to be straight up floats with floats. However, Rascals is... Yeah, Rascals is probably going to... They're gonna go for the bridge pick. If somebody peeks bridge and gets pulled and hooked, then it's gonna be a free fight from Rascals.
I think Dramatic Gaming, you know, they've been playing a game for a year with each other. They went for the hook combo themselves. I think they're going to be aware of it. I don't expect anyone to get picked up from it.
Yeah. It's not a thing that usually gets a pick, but it's always mostly worth to do because you don't really lose time doing it. So it's always worth the possibility. Yeah, we see a pull coming in here, but nothing gets capped. Or nothing gets captured by it.
Interesting to see that Dramatic Gaming are taking a very forward stance on the bridge here.
Yeah. Zarya actually drops off for high ground, and now all of Dramatic Gaming decides to go from the low ground. They've lost almost all high ground advantage, except for the Zenyatta just raining down damage from him there. Monkey from Rascals is contesting the high ground here, trying to force them back a little, but has to fall back instead of dying. Monkey uses jump again, and we just see Rascals actually pushing the payload while they're taking this kind of staggered fight, and ults are just being built from both teams. Both teams with this sustain is just gonna build ults. However, Rascals is starting to lose players now. We actually have a Zenyatta battle on the payload, which looks like it's gonna go in the favor of Yippee-ki-yay.
Interesting to see that you don't usually see teams engaged that far forward of the payload movement, but Dramatic seem to have come out on top of that. They were managing to just get on payload, build some ult charge for the Winston, and get out safely. You also saw then, once the payload moved up, that Rascals were trying to take the high ground.
Yeah, and we see Rascals trying to take high ground here again, but quickly gets spammed out with that charge advantage. Gut grabs on high ground, and now they're just gonna be dropping like flies again. They didn't really have time to charge a proper support ult to try and survive in that grab.
That was also very smart from Dramatic Gaming there. You see they still have the Diva Bomb. They didn't commit it into the grab, knowing that Rascal Gaming did not have much Transcendence built up. The Rascals didn't also commit the beat, assuming they're going to use it for an aggressive push this fight.
However, it's important to look at the card. It's so far, even though they've lost 2 fights in a row, they only really need to win 1 fight to cap the point. We saw our Monkey from Rascals here trying to jump up, but just instantly gets booped on. So they're gonna try and take the payload here, but we have Dramatic Gaming dropping onto them. Transit used, and they get the pick on to off meta only. That's Zarya down on the major damage dealer off from Dramatic Gaming. They swap it off with a trade on to Ghost Dog by the Brigitte, and now they're gonna try and get the pick on to Zarya here in the backline. Dramatic Gaming is just kind of staggering here. The Trance comes into the Graviton to try and save his team. Everyone is able to stay alive from the defense here. Zarya coming back in. Now it's going to be a cleanup from the defense.
See, Dramatic there, they initiated Rascals initiated with the Transcendence there early, knowing that off meta only had used the grab last fight, trying to just get that initial pick, but you saw they were managing to come back with the beat drop. The beat drops traded. The blue team managed to just... Sorry, the red team managed to just come back and sustain on the point.
Yeah, and it was definitely because they were able to just use that beat and sustain for so long without getting focused down from Rascals, and we just have him again engaging aggressively onto the point. Trance is used here, however, off meta only has his Graviton, which gets used onto the payload. The Grav Bomb coming out, maybe a little unnecessary, but it finds 3 people, and it looks like it's just going to be another fight for Dramatic Gaming. We're going to be going into our final fight of this point, and possibly this map. Who do you think has
this time where they used the Grav, the Transcendence was already out from Trice. So the Diva Bomb realized she needed to use the Diva Bomb with that huge damage that just ignores Transcendence completely just to get some kills.
Yeah, we see Rascals here pushing in with the rally from underground, but not even able to touch payload. So that's gonna be Dramatic Gaming taking game 1 on Gibraltar. So
really comfortable full hold there.
Yeah, so now what do you think was the major factor and the major difference between these 2 teams in this map?
I feel like Dramatic Gaming just looked more stable. They looked comfortable playing the floats. I feel like you saw from the first round, Rascals didn't come out on the floats. They came out on a more 2-2-2 comp. So maybe Dramatic are just a lot more comfortable with that playtime, playing goats and floats for so long that they may be able to just out floats Rascals.
Yeah, that is entirely true. I also think a major part of it was Rascals playing these other DPS comps for the first and second point, because as we also discussed earlier, just allow Dramatic Gaming to build up a massive alt economy, and at that point you basically already know that at some point they're gonna get the third point. Um, Okay, so IQ, we're gonna be moving into King's Row here, or some other people would call it Goat's Row. So what do you think we're gonna be seeing on this map coming out from the two teams?
Now, I'm a big advocate of goats. I believe, although Platchat might get angry at me, I do believe that goats takes a lot of strategy. You can really tell the difference between a good team when they play goats. It requires so much more communication and cooldown usage than your normal 2-2-2. That if you just use one cooldown wrong, whether it be a repeat armor pack, a projectile bubble from the Zarya onto the Rhine, maybe too early, you just see a good team can focus that out and take advantage of it. However, you can see on the first point of attack though that you can play a more DPS composition with the quad DPS, and that does counter the goats very well. You see the blue team, they're coming out with May goats here.
And as we talked about earlier, we actually have Rascals here with a May one trick in comp, as you said earlier, and they're going to be pulling out this May on the defense. So now we're going to see how our Dramatic Gaming is going to respond to this May. It looks like they're actually going to be rolling out on a more DPS heavy comp. Yeah. It's going to counter the May really well.
Coming out. The quad DPS comp is coming out, they're going to be able to just take a huge amount of space straight away because the goats can't contest the Pharah. However, because of the May, I wonder maybe they're just going to sit in hotel, wait for someone to push up maybe the ball, and then get a May wall off onto him.
Yeah, another big disadvantage though is that Rascals does not have a diva at the moment. Reinhardt gets hacked, but gets bubbled and out of point. May's just contesting the point, but it has to fall back. Right now, it's all Dramatic Gaming all over the point. Also with that Doomfist just knocking Reinhardt back and out of the point. We have the Zarya here from behind, just gets melted by the Doomfist and the ball combo. And now it's just gonna be cleanup from Dramatic Gaming, coming up with a comp that was clearly superior compared to Rascals, just right from the get-go.
Two things I want to see is Rascals going to go onto the diva here. They switched to Widowmaker actually, the Widow Pharah. Are they going to keep the Rhine Zarya though? I believe they're going to go Monkey Diva with the Widow Pharah. Now Dramatic Gaming, you can see, are sticking with their quad DPS comp. They've got the momentum, they want to use their ultimates next fight. Keep rolling out, pushing this payload further.
We actually see Rascals going into a straight up DPS, quad DPS, solo tank, solo healer lineup here, which is actually pretty interesting, because right now Dramatic Gaming is gonna be having all the space, or should at least control all of the space. Yeah, there we go, already a pick onto the Widow, trying to get rest here, and they managed to get the rest. The Bob walks in, hits the Mercy, and Mercy's probably gonna die to the Bob. That was a great Bob, coming in from off meta only. Now it's just gonna be all Dramatic Gaming coming in with the rest of these staggers.
That was a pretty comfortable fight from Dramatic Gaming there. As I said before, they had the ultimates to win the fight. No matter what Rascals tried to do there, the ults were just going to win the fight for Dramatic Gaming. Now, interesting to see the Soldier as well, because they have Ashe and Doomfist on the enemy team. You just roll over the Soldier. They're not going to be able to contest for long, I don't think.
Yeah, and Ghost Dog goes down again early, but gets rest. So now we're gonna see if Ghost Dog is gonna be able to find anything with this Pharaoh. Yibikai, yay! This Zenyatta flex support player actually landing a double shot, direct air shot onto Ghost Dog, taking him down right after he gets rest.
The good thing about flex support players is they are heavily playing the Zenyatta and the Ana, which requires a lot of aim. So sometimes just switching over to DPS isn't an issue for them as well. This is what allows teams to play the quad DPS role.
And I actually think that the one major factor right now, as I was gonna say that Dramatic Gaming had the advantage here, but Ghost Dog finding 2 picks to counter my point. However, Yibikai finding Ghost Dog again, and Doomfist just wrecking havoc in the background.
Onto the wall.
Yeah. So, the major difference between these two teams right now is definitely the space. The amount of space that Dramatic Gaming already has from winning these fights is humongous compared to Rascals' space. I actually believe that EMP hit nothing, but the bomb is just in the backline, just melting them on the payload. And we just have our ball being able to push the payload for free while getting covered by Bob.
I think a big thing you can see here is the mechanical skill of Dramatic Gaming. It's just way above Rascals. Even when they lose 2 or 3 players, the rest of the team who are alive in Dramatic Gaming are just like, I don't care, I'm just gonna kill them anyway. That's the I guess the mechanical skill just carries this team all the way there.
Yeah, it's actually kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, you can see the difference compared to like if you watch Overwatch League. Usually, if you lose one person in your team, you back off, try and regroup, or you've basically already lost the fight and feed ultimate. However, that's not how Dramatic Gaming wants to play this. They don't care if they lose 1 or 2 people. They are just want to go in and destroy Rascals in the DPS lineup, or just a mechanical skill opponent.
I think you see from the first map getting that really comfortable win, pushing it almost all the way. They actually did push it all the way, sorry, on Gibraltar, and then full holding. They would have come into this map with loads of confidence. They're like, even if we do lose 2 people, we're just gonna keep on going, using our DPS because they're so spread out. They can just use the crossfires, the angles on the enemy team to just keep getting picks. And you saw that they did. I would have assumed they would have waited maybe like 10 seconds, like see if we get more picks here, then carry on going. They managed to get them picks every time. So like we can keep going now that we've evened out the numbers of the fight.
It actually looks like that both teams are going to be running out on a PS comp. Dramatic Gaming feeling so good
that the ghost on the first point is just really easily countered by quad DPS, so they're just like, you know what, we'll do quad DPS as well. We can out-skill you with our aim.
And now it's gonna be interesting to see this DPS versus DPS lineup. However, Rascals is actually also running a Widow, so Dramatic Gaming needs to watch their heads as they're trying to defend this point.
I think the main thing you want to see is the Ashe versus the Widow competition. The Widow should really easily win this. Ashe is going to have to be forced back and play in different angles that she's not used to, with the added pressure of the Pharah as well. I don't expect Dramatic Gaming to hold this for very long.
It's going to be tough, and we see the Doomfist going on to Widow, finding the pick, and Sombra also finding the pick onto Pharah, and now we just see the res getting cancelled from Dramatic Gaming.
He actually just walked away there, I believe. He got after the res.
He accidentally walked away from the res and got hacked afterwards. That's an unlucky.
It's a big yikes. Oh, there you go, Widow getting the pick on the Sombra. That's interesting to see. I thought the Sombra would rather stay invisible before the fight starts.
Yeah, but now we're gonna see if Dramatic Gaming is gonna do their thing and find more picks and just turn out of this fight. Ooh. However, Widow finds another kill onto Ball and the Pharah. Doomfist in the backline now though, finding the McCree. Pharah gets rest from the side of Dramatic Gaming. Doomfist goes down in the backline. Now Widow's gonna have free reign to try and get this Pharah again and just clean up the people trying to contest point. Ghost Dog in the backline though, finding 2 people. And now it looks like that Rascals is just gonna take this fight off of Widow picks.
You noticed there, that fight, the ball on the side of Rascals was able to get some pressure onto the point, start getting that tick meter up which allowed Exion to get a further position up, allowed him to just start clicking heads. He got like 3 kills at the start of the fight. It just gave the Rascals a huge amount of confidence to push forwards. You see Ghost Dog getting 2 kills, and then they just go into cleanup phase.
Yeah, now we're gonna see if they're gonna be able to carry this Widow momentum into second phase. However, second phase is actually not that good for Widow, and I can imagine her being...
Yeah, the Ashia might be able to get more advantage over the Widowmaker. Dramatic Gaming have a lot more ultimates coming into this fight as well.
Dooms is diving in deep, gets stunned, and just gets picked off. He was actually planning on diving in, trying to get a kill, and then just ulting out. Both barrages being used. YBKY finding 2 with that barrage. However, the McCree Mercy combo is still gonna be walking in and giving YBKY a hard time. Bob coming in, and these pops have been great so far from Dramatic Gaming. Just making sure that they can't push the payload any further, and off meta actually finds a pick onto the Mercy, and now Rascals is gonna be without heals for the rest of this fight.
I think you see there the Bob comes out from the side of Dramatic Gaming because they realize they're only down 1 or 2 people. They're like, we can use the Bob to just zone off the enemy, allow our teammates to come back, and then make it a fair 6v6 again.
EMP came in. Both EMPs at the same time, actually. Ball from Dramatic Gaming goes in but gets hatched, gets taken down by the Widow, but gets the Widow kill anyway with his mine. Doomfist still deep in the backline, gets picked off by the McCree. This McCree is doing a good job of countering Doomfist right now.
See, as we spoke about before, the Widowmaker on the side of Exion, who pretty much carried the first point, isn't doing as much on the second phase because it's so narrow. You used to assume Widow would be good, but because it's such a close quarter part of the map, the Ashe is just basically able to avoid the Widow, the Pharah is able to avoid the Widow.
Yeah. Ghost Dog taking a huge hit, and Doomfist coming in, killing the Pharah. While the Sombra then took out the Mercy in the meanwhile, so Pharah had no heals or any means of escape right there. That was one hell of a clean fight coming in from Dramatic Gaming, which now has all of the space again. I really want to see Exion switching off with the Widow at this point.
See, one thing I noticed with the change in that fight was that Resent wasn't actually initiating with the Doomfist. He's noticed there's a McCree Sombra who's going to hard counter him if he tries to do any type of engagement first. He allowed his team to just pressure with the Pharah, get some picks in. The Ashe managed to just get a Ashe bomb onto the McCree, and then Resent went in for the cleanup.
And now the Bob into the backline finds the pick onto the Widow, but it's gonna get rest here while Bob is hacked. Let's see if Bob can get any more value. No, never mind. And now it looks like it's gonna be quite the fight here coming in. Both teams look quite equal right now, but Resent coming in with the Doomfist, huge damage onto the McCree and also finding the kill. Diving the backline with YBKY, finding both the hit scan DPS in the back.
Same thing again in that fight with the Doomfist. He comes in later than earlier, and he was allowed to just clean up the fight. The McCree had used both his cooldowns, so he wasn't able to do anything.
YBKY, however, playing a bit too far up compared to where his team were, gets picked off, gets rest though, but sacrifices his Mercy in the meantime. But while all of that was happening, Dramatic Gaming just destroyed the Rascals again in the bag in a moment's notice.
So every time Rascals get a few picks, they're like, okay, we can take some space on the point, but then Dramatic Gaming just come in through the back lines of the Rascals and just kicks them apart. One by one, and it just wins the fight again.
And the same thing happened here. Exion actually finding a pick from Hanzo onto off meta only, but now we see Resent and YBKY turning it back into their favor. However, it's actually going to be 1 down from Dramatic Gaming right now, and it's going to continue to stay that way.
Rascals is... oh, wait. No, may have been too early there.
Barrage coming in though, finding a pick onto the Hanzo. McCree high noon in the back, but it wasn't able to find enough value here. Pharah Barrage coming in, gets shut down from YBKY though. Now it's only a Mercy trying to consist point, and all of it is mined off, and I think this is another map win for Dramatic.
See, I was literally going to say Rascals will manage to get some point presence, but it happened every other fight. They would get some point presence, They'd start pushing up, and the dramatic gaming will come in from loads of different angles, just picking apart one hero at a time. Really good target focus, and just getting out and then coming back in. Pharaoh would be at the same time just shooting constantly with no contests, and they'd just kill about 3 people every fight, and then just get cart control again.
Yeah,
Really
and
good patience shown there. They only aggressed when they needed to go forwards. They allowed Rascals to get comfortable on the cart and then phase their attack.
it was almost like dramatic gaming were trying to debate Rascals every single fight with allowing them to get a pick almost, and then just turning the fight back into the favor on the unsuspecting backline of Rascals. Well, that's gonna also be GG's. It's gonna be a convincing 2-0 win here from Dramatic Gaming. So it's gonna be GG's to Rascal Purple, and we're gonna be moving on to next battle.